Hello and welcome to Unrest Digest. This is one of the first videos I'm doing on this channel, and it may be a slight misleading title. Matt Walsh calls for ban on assault dogs, but he did have some comments about pit bulls. I've come today dressed as President, is it Prime Minister or President? Zelensky from Ukraine, got my military uniform on, or was it just casual green clothes he seems to wear and absolutely nothing else? Not a suit in sight for Mr. Vladimir. Is it Vladimir? Yeah, Vladimir. Vladimir is the other one, isn't it? Anyway, but the conversation, the topic that I read was Matt Walsh calling for a ban of pit bulls. We've come a long way since the past, where it used to be no blacks, no dogs, and no Irish. Still yet to unban dogs completely from most public spaces. Some pubs, however, do allow dogs in. Some pubs do unfortunately allow the Irish. Joke, I'll probably get banned. First video banned, that's it. You're done, mate. Get off YouTube. It's a joke. It's a joke. Anyway. But you can come up with hang on, I've got a bit of sometimes the topics do sort of the conversation does seem a bit familiar. Was it 65% of pit bulls are accounting for pit bulls accounting for 65% of the dog attacks in the US, 10% being Rottweilers, and the rest are probably other breeds that I'm sorry about this tufty, but it's really pissed me off. But that does sound like the whole 1350 thing, which I'm not going to discuss here, or at least right now anyway, because that gets a little bit spicy. But my opinions are a little different from either side when it comes to that argument, when it comes to crime and the FBI statistics. Anyway, back to the dog thing. My personal opinion, pit bulls. Maybe it's similar to the whole gun debate, the whole rural versus urban debate. Like, if you live out in the outskirts of nowhere in the country and you want to own a pit bull, and that pit bull's going to be vicious, you're not really going to affect anyone, are you? But if you live like in slap bang in, say, London or New York or Chicago or any other city where there's high-rise buildings and you've got pit bull in in the 7th story in a flat, and you take it out to the park for a walk, you may be causing a bit of a risk to other people. And I can understand where some people's concerns may come from when it comes to such a thing, similar to the whole gun thing. If you have a pistol or a large rifle or even an automatic machine gun, and you're out in the middle of nowhere in the country, maybe for hunting, for whatever personal reason, still really annoying, then anyway, then obviously it can be I've lost a train of thought here, sorry. It can be quite, no one's going to be affected by you shooting guns. Some maybe, but most likely it's no one's going to be able to hear it. And if they do, they'll be just popping in the distance, but maybe fireworks. Don't know. However, if you have a AK-47 in the middle of, say, Times Square in your high-rise flat, I don't think you'll be able to fire it anywhere legally. Obviously, you can't have guns in New York anyway, except with certain requirements. It's the similar kind of debate, I believe personally. That's my opinion. Like, maybe, but do I believe that you should be banned from having a pit bull in the centre of a city? I think it has to come down to some kind of democratic vote, possibly. I'm not sure. I'm not a big fan of democracy or direct democracy for that fact. But I think that is quite an interesting sort of take on it. It's, Rottweiler out in the country. Rottweiler, sorry, I mean to say pit bull. I've said Rottweiler and then pit bull. They were the other breed that were mentioned. But that's my personal opinion. But I'd also err on the side of have any dog you want, as long as you're looking after it. I mean, there is a difference between a lovely pit bull that's being looked after and well trained versus one that's just being starved for days, almost just for security purposes. And the other thing I was going to say is, if you want to aim at pit bulls, well, then you can look at Rottweilers, and they become. We're going to start banning dogs, starting from pit bulls, then to Rottweilers, then to stuffy dogs that we have quite a lot of here in the UK. I'm not sure what it's like in the US when it comes to little staffies or different kinds of mongrel breeds of similar to the Staffordshire Is it Staffordshire? I believe. Anyway, I'm not quite sure on that. But yeah, you're just going to start arbitrarily banning dog. Well, it's not even arbitrarily. Start the most dangerous. I mean, where do you stop? Do you just start with the pit bulls and just leave it at that? Because they're the worst. That's it. We have to ban them. You can't solve the problem with the pit bulls that are causing the attacks. You can't maybe try and solve that problem first. You have to just ban the dog. You know what I mean? If you want to go back into the other argument I was mentioning earlier, these people are committing most of the crimes. What, ban them or blame them for you know, I'm not getting into that debate, but you can see what I'm getting at there. Maybe we just try and solve these problems as problems rather than trying to put in measures that restrict people's freedom and rights in order for people's safety. That's again another freedom versus safety argument, which is similar to the whole gun debate. And maybe there is a small argument to be made in the city of safety because there's so many people living on top of each other when it comes to weapons, when it comes to dogs, and other such things. I'm sure there's countless other debates and arguments when it comes to other things that affect cities versus rural. But personally, I don't own a pit bull. I have a lovely Springer Spaniel, and she wouldn't harm a fly. So that's me personally. But if I see a pit bull, I'm not going to run away screaming, no matter where I am. Maybe if I have a child with me, then I'm going to be a little bit more protective. But I would be around any dog anyway, and most of the people in a city centre. I think that might be where most of your issues would be from the people around you in the city centre rather than the dogs. That's just my personal opinion. I believe I'm going to end the video there. This is my first one. Please like, comment, subscribe, call me or whatever you want. And please stay posted for the next videos that hopefully will be a little bit better and well structured. But anyway, thank you very much. And yeah, thanks for listening to Unrest Digest. Cheers.